split already. Okay, and Booker T apparently doesn't wrestle anymore. He gets attacked by AJ Styles every week. That's been going on for about a month now.
Yeah, and since when is Booker T a fucking legend? I'm sorry, he's Booker T. He's the guy who said, "Can you dig it, fucker?" That's
Five-time
champion. It's catching on. You know, he's not a legend. He's a good wrestler when he was in his prime, which was like what, 5, 6, 8 years ago, and that's being generous.
Well, when he was at the tail end of his WWE career, when he wrestled Triple H, I think was his last feud, and then he was gone. They had the King of Kings against the King Booker or whatever. It was pretty stupid anyways, but
yeah,
watching his match with Triple H, and he was barely carrying the match.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not that he was carrying the match, but Triple H had to carry him in the match, I should say.
Yeah.
And it was pretty hard to watch, and like Scott Steiner's another example. His match with Samoa Joe is going to be awful.
Yeah.
It's going to be terrible. They're just, not just that their styles are different, they're just no meshing there at all, and Scott Steiner just can't move like he used to.
Yeah.
Kevin Nash, then they're talking about when Scott Steiner's turn with Samoa Joe was done, now they're going to have Kevin Nash wrestle him. Are you serious? It looks like someone ripped the mop part off of the handle and stuck it on top of Nash's head. The same guys that he made fun of in those Four Horsemen parodies when he was in the NWO, that's what he turned into.
Yeah.
He can't move. He's slow. I mean, he walks to the ring. It takes him a half hour to walk to the ring. Cut with the promos already and try to get more matches. WWE actually had a main event. They had Triple H against Umaga, and yeah, there was a jumping, running at the end, or whatever, but it's built around a storyline and building towards WrestleMania.
Yeah. Well, another point I wanted to bring up is coherence. There's a coherence to a WWE storyline. They build on their old stories, like with the Triple H Orton thing. They actually referenced the last time Triple H and Orton feuded and used it as a kind of motivation for the heel trying to prove himself. When have you seen any bits in TNA that have dug further than, like, say, 6 months, if they even go that far, if they even bother to watch their own terrible shows? I mean, it always seems like they're just putting two guys together and then finding a reason for them to actually have a feud, rather than building a story and then finding the right wrestlers to mesh that story, to flush it out and, you know, make a good story. To actually make a good, entertaining story, something that interests you, matches that interest you. I mean, that Matt Morgan match that you were talking about with Swelling Sewell, or whatever his name is.
Shane Sewell.
Sewell, that's it, Sewell. That was an awful match. Not just the finisher, but just in general. There was very little that was actually interesting about that match. For that matter, for me personally, I had more fun laughing at that show than I actually had enjoying, like,
Matt Morgan,
good wrestling.
By the way, stop with your Austin, and I'm pretending to look at my invisible watch and seeing how long it'll take me before I throw this guy and saying, nope, it's not time. I'm like, okay, dude, all you're doing now is holding the guy up in the air and you're talking to your wrist.
Yeah.
Okay? So, I personally, Matt Morgan's big and everything. He's the blueprint, his DNA, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Well, he doesn't have something going for him, because to me, he just isn't that good. I'm sorry. He just is not. He doesn't do a thing for me. Always think of it this way. Take TNA's very 5 best wrestlers, whoever that might be, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Angle,
that pretty much says it right there.
Booker T. I mean, you've seen TNA Thursday night, you've seen the big sign that says bring back Sabu.
Yeah.
Which I don't think will happen, but...
No.
But, like, okay, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Angle, let's just say for argument's sake, Sting and Booker T. Now start taking the 5 best guys from Raw, and now I'm not a fan. I may not be a fan of all 5 of these guys. Undertaker, Randy Orton, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, and then like John Cena, Kane. I mean, I could go on and on and on, and you're it's apples and oranges, basically. You can read the comment from Sanjay Dutton. You can take from it what you will. Yeah, he was just released from TNA, so of course he might say this, but he claimed, besides the veteran guys, probably basically the main event mafia, everybody in TNA wants to be in WWE. You know, what does that say for them? You know,
Yeah.
You had this. Oh my God, I can't remember his name. He came out dressed as a gladiator, Brutus Maximus or something. It was terrible. This looked like something that belonged in early 90s, late 80s WWE rejects, like the Red Rooster.
Actually, I will do you one better than that. What it reminds me of, I haven't seen exactly what you're talking about, but the way you're describing it, it sounds a lot to me. Anybody who watched the first episode of ECW when it relaunched as a WWE show on Sci-Fi, the Sandman versus the Zombie, it honestly sounds kind of like, in terms of production value, it's probably on par with that, and that was meant to be a joke. Okay, it was literally meant to be a joke. Taz kept insisting somebody was playing a prank on them. Yeah. It was so bad. He couldn't believe it. He couldn't will himself to believe that something that stupid was actually making the air. And what you're saying, the way you're describing it, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like it's something that's so foolish, ridiculous, so unworthy of actually being put on the air as a product made by professionals rather than people with an empty garage in their backyard.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's what it sounds like. I mean, because that's how those old WWE bits were back in their dark days when they were really, really bad. Mm-hmm. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like the exact same thing.
You know.